Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Radical Comment of the Week for July 19th through the 25th, 2021. These are the very best comments from that time period. Starting out with the honorable mentions, we got Art Bell, P.O. Box Christmas, and Rusty Shackelford. Bronze medal comes to us from Juliet India Mobile. Call me cold on this one, but my path to marriage was a tough one for my wife. I told myself personally, before I ever met my wife, I'm doing this once and never again. When my wife and I started dating, she brought marriage up a few times. Although you can never really call it dating, since we never referred to each other as boyfriend or girlfriend, I was honest and clear-cut with her. I told her that if she felt the marriage did anything to our relationship other than a change of legal status, my answer was no. Also let her know if she couldn't respect that, then the relationship wasn't going to work. I've known plenty of divorced folks, and it's quite formulaic. Their relationship stems from that initial rush of being with someone new. The trim is lined with shiny chrome and definitely has that new car smell. So you buy it and seal the deal. However, marriage doesn't exactly have a lemon law. They soon realize their ideas of the future differ. Money becomes way more important than it needs to be, and you lose one of the most important things in a marriage: respect for each other. Seeing this happen to close friends, it's always the same in the beginning. You hear them say, "We figured getting married would strengthen our relationship," and generally never works out. Guys have equal right to set rules and boundaries in a relationship. Avoid any woman who can't respect that. There's plenty of trim out there if you respect yourself, maintain personal hygiene, and dress halfway decent. It's not worth your foundation crumbling to jump into marriage unprepared. Some great advice there, and I'm happy things are working out for you. I think what happens is a lot of people, they think that marriage is going to be the ultimate thing, especially women. You know, they have the idea, you know what, I just got to get me a boyfriend. I got to turn them into a future husband, have some kids, and everything's going to work out. You know, it's the end goal of, I would say, probably most people, to find that special somebody, have kids, live everything out, you know? It's just, I think society lies to us because, you know, you watch the movies, you watch the TV shows, and everything just like, it makes it seem like as long as you get there, as long as you find that special someone, everything's going to fall into place, everything's going to work out. You know, there's so much I could talk about here, but I'll keep it brief. Talking about that new car smell. Hey, you're lucky if you got one and it smells like a new car. I've never smelled a new car down. Oh, you're not talking about literally how the smells down there. Oh, okay. But yeah, you know, you have that rush. I think a foundation it takes several years to build. Most marriages I think that fail are the ones where people are their high school sweethearts, they get together and they don't go out and experience the world and learn a lot about themselves. You know? So if you're getting with somebody and you have that rush, just know that that initial rush, sometimes it doesn't go away. Sometimes it strengthens over time. But in most cases, that initial rush, the feeling of being with somebody new, a lot of people take that and then they turn it into a marriage, or they run to Vegas and they get hitched real quick. Then they realize that they have committed themselves to a marriage with somebody they barely even know. And talking about how it strengthens a relationship, great point when you said to her, unless this is anything more than just a document, you know, it's going to change nothing about this. Ultimately, marriage shouldn't change any healthy, happy relationship. It shouldn't. And I think it's one of the best things I've ever heard anyone leave in a comment, and some of the best advice to leave to a partner. You look him right in the eye and you say, listen, you know, this doesn't change anything with us other than a legal status. So then that's such great advice there, Juliet India Mobile. The silver medal comes to us from the Winged Avenger. Camelot331 may soon turn out to be the worst e-beggar of them all. YouTube is indeed getting worse and worse in many ways, but the craftiest manipulator of them all may still be veteran e-beggar extraordinaire MJR. We all know about his Patreon and various scams, but I think his cunning is even more subtle than that. He is the king of generating comments by purposely saying or doing stupid things in his videos. How many times have you seen this supposed retro gaming expert say something idiotic about retro gaming? Could it be that he does it to make people type away in the comments? The latest example is in his new video about his SNES collection, where he asks the question, which console of that era is better for shooters, the SNES or the Genesis? Now even the most ignorant fan of retro games knows that in that generation, the best console for shooters was the TurboGrafx-16, called the PC Engine in Japan. With the Genesis a close second, and the SNES a very distant third, if not fourth behind the Neo Geo. When asked that question, I instinctively wanted to write a comment, but stopped myself because I'd seen him do this so many times before. If you scroll down into the comment section of the video, you'll of course see several people pointing out that the TG16 was the king of shooters and that there was a huge gap between the Genesis and the SNES in that field. Imagine if I had a basketball channel on YouTube and I asked my audience, who's the best basketball player of all time? LeBron James or Kobe Bryant? The guaranteed result would be a bunch of comments telling me that I should have mentioned Michael Jordan. They would call me a dummy, but they should probably call me a manipulator. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but you know that comments help a video's popularity, and MJR is a bona fide master manipulator, so no one should put that past him to do something like this. Or have you forgotten about Revenge of the Bird King? Yeah, you know, by me saying things like, or make references to Camelot331 Cody being one of the biggest sympathy garnering manipulators on this platform currently, doesn't mean I forgot about the Basement League, doesn't mean I forgot about things MGR has done in the past. But the thing is, and maybe it's just because I don't follow him a whole lot, really. I mean, I'm very limited because I can only follow so many things and so many people in at maximum a couple hours on here a day, right? So it's not that I have forgotten. Don't ever say that I've forgotten about the past of Metal Jesus. It's just right now, currently, I don't see Metal Jesus blatantly, shamelessly doing a lot of the stuff like Camelot is doing. Like, you know, MGR looks at Camelot like, and he would blush like, wow, you know, they got on me for this, but oh my goodness, look at all this crap he's doing. I've never got a Nascar. So we got to put things in perspective here. Now, I know a lot of people here probably know more about MGR than Camelot331, but that doesn't really mean anything. Like, it doesn't really mean a bit if you're being fair and objective and you're looking at these things or those two people and comparing them to each other, right? So, I mean, with Camelot, it's like every fucking week. You know, at least Metal Jesus, he spaced out the cons after a while, but yeah, so talking about shooters, that's not a genre I know a lot about. You know, I mean, just from that era, I can't claim to be any kind of an expert. But, like, I even am aware that the TurboGrafx was probably, like, hands down, the best system for shooters. And, I mean, you can make an argument for a lot of the Neo Geo games. But with Neo Geo, like, they had some great shooters, but during that era, you would be like, okay, what's the best? I'd be like asking, okay, which of these platforms was the best for fighting games? And someone trying to say that SNES was the best genre for fighting games. You know, no. I mean, straight fighting games, it was the Neo Geo. I mean, a lot of people couldn't afford the Neo Geo or can't really afford it now, but if you wanted a system to play fighting games, boom, the Neo Geo. Now, talking about the ignorance of that one upload, I haven't seen that upload, but that does sound like something he would do to get a lot more comments on an upload. And you use the comparison LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, and yeah, I mean, I've seen that in basketball uploads, actually. Weird that you brought that up. Not exactly that, but like with discussion of maybe best point guards of all time. And, you know, people leave off Isaiah Thomas, or they leave off, you know, this person, or, you know, best centers of all time, but they leave off Shaq. Yeah, so it's kind of obvious. It's kind of like, I would say, comment baiting, I would say. But being fair and objective again, comment baiting, can you make the claim that MGR comment baits any more than someone like Camelot331? I'm just saying when it comes to e-begging, and things we consider to be e-beggars, I mean, Camelot331, he's kind of in a league all his own right now, I believe. And the gold medal comment comes to us from Warehouse Dave. I never did watch his wreck video until just now. Talking about Camelot331. A few observations that I made, and I'm sure others have made the same. After wrecking, immediately downplays the situation that he later goes on to grieve and beg over, joking about it with his dad and others at the scene. No big deal. They all seem to agree. This is what a defensive narcissist would do, and Dad seems to have years of experience protecting his son's ego. Has first-person camera perspective for the majority of his driving. However, at by far the most interesting part of the video, the entire theme of the video based on the title and following actions, GoFundMe, tears, etc., he does not show a first-person perspective of his idiotic mistake. This is not surprising coming from Camelot, but is very telling of how embarrassingly bad his driving skills are. The closing minute of the video was absolutely shameful. No remorse, or down on one knee humility, as he says, I'll just quote his entire video outro. So as we can see, we've been up the old 12 car at Daytona to get something like this fixed. It's pretty astronomical. And I take solace in the fact that I was able to do it, but I really can't financially do it, more. Yeah, it's just outrageous. Something like this, Chuckles, so you can see how destroyed it is. Look how delicious it looks. A lot of you guys support me. Whoa, I gotta roll back here. Made a little error there. No edits. I'm gonna roll this back. It's just outrageous. Something like this. You can see how destroyed it is. Look how delicious it looks. A lot of you guys support me in huge ways, and pretty much you're the only reason I do this. So get on it, doggone it. Closing text reads, thanks everyone for getting me here. I can't afford to keep doing it, but Lord, what a ride. I don't think there's a T in Lord. I know it's how he probably typed it. It's not an error from you. I am forever in your debt. I feel like a ton of people never get to chase their dreams. I'm just glad I got to taste it, if only for a moment. This is the most disgraceful e-begging video I've seen to date. Something about the fake emotions makes it much worse than other scheming methods we've seen with Fund My Basement Leak or Fund My Museum scams. You've made covering the worst e-begging offenders a focal point of your channel, and now I see why Camelot331 has been getting more coverage than e-beggars of past, who have in large part shaped up dramatically after being exposed as e-beggars. Good work. On a side note, you asked last time I commented how I've been doing. Truth is, I was in agonizing pain from a wisdom tooth that has since been pulled, so I can now say much better. Business has been good too. Also wanted to say after watching your video about CoQ10, I decided to give it a try with a 3-month supply. I can tell you my metabolism has increased a bit as I've had no change in diet, have not been exercising as much as I used to, and only getting older, so I've been putting on some weight as a result this past year, and I've dropped a few pounds since supplementing. The fact that studies have shown it's good for cardiovascular health and cholesterol, which runs in my family, is also a big plus in my book. So I'm glad I got on it, doggone it. So quickly I'll get this out of the way. I'm taking my CoQ10 in a minute here. I had a roadblock because I took something. I tried some of those, I tried a boost. Was it a boost? I'm not sure. I just wanted to try something because I remember I had them in the past and just do like a experiment. Seems like it's causing a little bit of weight gain, around the midsection and a general full feeling. Yeah, I don't know. I don't recommend the boosters. It's just not working out for me. Maybe there's something in there I'm having a reaction to. I'm currently taking something called wheatgrass, which I might do a review of in the future. I don't know. It's grass. I'm literally drinking grass, but I got a whole big thing of it, so I'll try. I talk about health stuff from time to time. The CoQ10 is great. I tell you what, L-carnitine. I've been combining L-carnitine with the CoQ10, and that seems to double the effect. So right now, I'm trying to take some L-carnitine. So yeah. But yes, back to the main point of your comment here, the rec video. I rewatched the rec video, and here's one of my observations. There's a lot here I could talk about. I really don't have time to go into a lot of stuff you brought up here, but here's my main observation from that is there was no first person like you said. And if he actually wants to make the claim, what was it, that it was someone else's fault and there was some oil or something like slippery on the track, then probably there would be a bit of shock and surprise when that camera angle looks, but it seems like he's just kind of like let down on himself. It seems like what happened is he can't drive for shit. And that's what happened. He can't drive for shit. He lost control of the car. He just lost control, and there was no way to blame that on anyone else. But the thing is, with a narcissist like himself, he downplayed what happened. What did he say? Something like, yeah, we gave it hell out there. We gave it hell. So the whole time it's like he's trying to downplay and take himself out of any responsibility for the crash. It's kind of weird just kind of observing him right after. And there's all these kind of cuts, which are interesting. It's almost like he cut out some things he says at one point. And I know sometimes, that's part of editing videos. But it's kind of weird that he would edit out what you would think would be there. A first-person view, even if they cut it out, of the actual crash. So one would say, if he's not going to have a first-person view of it, then you're kind of bearing the lead. You're showing him inside of it running off the track, but you're not showing behind the car, in front of the car, or like nothing. So we just have to rely on his story, which we're not going to get the whole part of the story, I guarantee you. And yeah, you brought up the museum stuff. You brought up the basement leak. And the thing is, we don't exist. We don't live in one time period specifically. Now, I think it's important to always remember these cons that the MGR crew pulls off. Man, you hear that? Somebody's getting on out there, doggone it. You hear that? Yeah, so will you say some of these people have cleaned up their act? Like, by that, if you mean that they're not running a lot of the same cons because they kind of know that more people are smart to it, are going to, bring things up because of, well, me? Then that's a good feeling, right? So we can't just make false equating, like I said, as a reply to the silver, of maybe, comment baiting for some shooting games and actually freaking begging up help to fix a NASCAR that you wrecked. Now I know some of you, like I said, are not going to feel the same way I do, and that's okay. We all don't feel the same way about everything here, but I think we all will be in agreement with Warehouse Dave that even if you don't agree that it might be the worst e-banking video of all time, it is one of the most shameful e-banking videos of all time.